The quiet passenger. The plane buzzed with the usual pre-takeoff energy as passengers shuffled to their seats. Among them was a young woman named Ava Grant, dressed simply in a soft blue jacket and black jeans. Her carry-on rolled quietly behind her as she made her way through the first-class cabin. It had been a long day, and Ava looked forward to unwinding during this flight. Her seat was by the window, and she sank into it with a soft sigh of relief. She had been working nonstop for months. This flight, although short, was a rare pause from her packed schedule. As she adjusted her seat and glanced out the window, she noticed a few curious glances. Some passengers raised their eyebrows slightly at her appearance. Others barely noticed her. Ava wasn't surprised. In a setting where designer suits and expensive watches were common, her relaxed style stood out. She preferred comfort over flash. Always had. Despite her high position, she didn't like drawing attention. All she wanted was to travel in peace. But as she settled into her seat, she became aware of someone approaching. A flight attendant in a crisp navy uniform stopped by her row. Her name tag read Tara Miles. She looked to be in her mid-30s, tall, poised, with a cool confidence that almost bordered on arrogance. Tara's eyes scanned Ava from head to toe, lingering with a flicker of skepticism. "Excuse me, miss," she said sharply. "May I see your boarding pass?" Ava blinked, surprised by the tone. She reached in her bag and calmly handed over her pass. "Of course. Here you go." Tara took it, her expression unreadable. Instead of glancing and returning it, she studied it intently, flipping it over, holding it up as if inspecting for forgery. "Are you sure this is your seat?" Tara asked, her tone carrying a hint of accusation. "This is first class." Ava's brows lifted. "Yes, I'm sure. I booked it weeks ago. Everything should be in order." There was a pause. Tara didn't respond immediately. Her eyes narrowed slightly, and she finally said, "I'll just need a double check with the front desk. Please stay seated." Ava nodded, her stomach tightening. Something felt off. The tone, the look, the delay, it all hinted at more than just routine protocol. As Tara walked briskly toward the galley, Ava noticed the quiet in the cabin. The incident had not gone unnoticed. Passengers were watching. Moments later, Tara returned, her demeanor noticeably cooler. "Miss, there seems to be a problem with your reservation. Could you please follow me to the galley while we sort this out?" Ava stood, calm but resolute. Heads turned as she followed Tara down the aisle. Whispers rippled. In the galley, Tara gestured for her to wait and picked up the phone. "Yes, I have a passenger in first class. The system's flagging her reservation. I need confirmation," she whispered urgently. Ava crossed her arms. She could hear the doubt, the suspicion in Tara's voice. It was clear she didn't believe Ava belonged in that seat. Minutes ticked by. Another flight attendant nearby, a younger woman with kind eyes, glanced at Ava with quiet concern but said nothing. Ava didn't move. She wasn't going to be quietly shuffled back to coach based on someone else's assumptions. When Tara hung up, her expression had changed. She returned with a clipped tone. "I'm sorry, but I need to ask you to move to the main cabin until this is sorted." Ava stood tall. Her voice was calm but unshakable. "I paid for that seat. My reservation is valid. What exactly is the issue?" Tara stammered, clearly unprepared for Ava's resolve. It's flagged. Protocol requires we verify." "And how often do you remove passengers from first class because of a flag?" Ava asked. Before Tara could answer, a man in his 50s who had been observing stepped forward. "Excuse me," he said. "I saw her boarding pass. She belongs in first class. What's going on here?" Tara hesitated, eyes darting. "Is this about how she looks?" he pressed. "Because it seems like it." The tension thickened. Ava turned back to Tara. "You assumed I didn't belong. That says more about you than it does about me." Tara's face flushed. She stepped away and made another urgent call. Ava remained where she was, unwavering. A few more minutes passed. The curtain rustled, and Tara returned. Her posture was stiffer now, her voice smaller. "Miss Grant, I deeply apologize. There was a mistake. Your reservation is valid." Ava narrowed her eyes. "Miss Grant?" I never told you my last name. Tara froze. You found out who I am, Ava said, her tone steely. You realized Ava Grant isn't just a name on a boarding pass. I'm one of the owners of this airline. The galley fell silent. Tara looked like the floor had dropped beneath her. I didn't know. I didn't mean. You assumed, Ava interrupted. Based on my clothes, my age, whatever story you made up in your head. You embarrassed me in front of an entire cabin. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize to me. You need to apologize to every passenger who saw this and now thinks that you decide who belongs based on how they look. The captain soon arrived, called in by Tara. He addressed Ava with the deference she was due. Miss Grant, I apologize on behalf of the crew. This will be addressed immediately. No, Ava said. It needs more than that. You need to revisit your training, your culture, your leadership. This isn't about one mistake. It's about everything that let this happen. Understood. Ava returned to her seat in first class, quiet murmurs of approval following her. The older man nodded at her as she passed. The atmosphere in the cabin had shifted. Tara avoided eye contact for the remainder of the flight. After landing, Ava exited the plane with quiet grace. But she wasn't done. From the terminal, she messaged her executive team. There would be a full review, new training, a zero-tolerance policy for bias. Over the next several weeks, Ava led a sweeping reform inside the company. Sensitivity training was updated. HR policies were revised. A third-party audit was conducted, exposing deeper systemic flaws. Ava didn't shy away. She led the charge. Media outlets caught wind of the story. They didn't name her directly, but industry insiders knew. The airline began being seen not as the one that failed, but as the one actively changing. Months passed. The company shifted. Passengers noticed. Employees changed. Ava stood at the forefront, a quiet leader who had turned a moment of humiliation into a catalyst for reform. She hadn't wanted attention, but sometimes it found you anyway. And when it did, you chose whether to shrink or to lead. Ava Grant chose to lead.